الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد آتينا موسى الكتاب وقفينا من بعده بالرسل وآتينا عيسى ابن مريم البينات وأيدناه بروح القدس أفكلما جاءكم رسول بما لا تهوى أنفسكم استكبرتم ففريقا كذبتم وفريقا تقتلون وقالوا قلوبنا غلف بل لعنهم الله بكفرهم فقليلا ما يؤمنون صدق الله العظيم. Regarding ayat number 86 of Surat al-Baqarah, we have gone over a few details about this ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Bani Israel, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابِ, and definitely we send Musa alayhi salam with al-Kitab, the book, the revelation, with Torah. وَقَفَّيْنَا مِن بَعْدِهِ بِالرُّسُلِ, and after that, after him, we sent a succession of many messengers and prophets to the Bani Israel. There were around 10,000 Anbiya alayhimus salam. They were sent to the Bani Israel. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions the last of the Anbiya alayhimus salam. They were sent specifically to the Bani Israel. And this Nabi, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, he was also the last Nabi sent before the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the next jumla of this ayah, or the next portion of this ayah, وَآتَيْنَا عِيسَى ابْنَ مَرْيَمَ الْبَيِّنَاتِ, and definitely we sent Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salam bil-bayyinat, with very clear bayyinat, very clear proofs, very clear evidence. وَأَيَّدْنَاهُ بِرُوحِ الْقُدُسِ, and we assisted him with Ruh al-Qudus, Jibreel alayhi salam. Al-Bayyinat, they were the mu'jizat or the miracles given to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And these miracles at that time, the most prominent aspect of human society of that time, which people gave importance to and considered a level of power and prestige, was medicine. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam such miracles that even the experts of medicine of that time were unable to match, let alone in any way beat or even replicate in any way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam the mu'jiza, or the miracle, to cure those who were born blind, to have a cure for those who had the leprosy, a type of skin disease that was uncurable. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He also gave Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam the mu'jiza to be able to resurrect the dead. We've already gone over many of these miracles. He did it on 5 occasions. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam resurrected the dead on 5 occasions. He was also given the miracle that he used to be able to inform people what they ate and what they left at home, relating to people's diets. And he was also given the mu'jiza, or the miracle, that he used to be able to make a bird out of clay and blow ruh into it, blow his spirit into it, and even used to fly for some time. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave these mu'jizat, these miracles, to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And along with that also gave Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam the Injil, which was a special scripture revealed to Isa alayhi salam. Each of the revelations that were ever given to the Anbiya alayhimus salam, they had certain khususiyat. They had certain very special elements and topics they had, or that they were the main course of those discussions. It was used to address a very, very particular subject, a very, very particular topic. Unfortunately, many a times we don't have time to really study the Quran. Otherwise, the khususiyat of the Quran, it is beyond amazing, for lack of a better way to explain it. Just to explain some of these special aspects of the revelations of the past, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave sahaif to the Anbiya alayhimus salam before. They were given to Sayyidina Idris, they were given to Idris alayhi salam, to Shis alayhi salam, and to Ibrahim alayhi salam, and Musa alayhi salam. These were sahaif, or booklets. The first portion was revealed to Shis alayhi salam. He was the son of Adam alayhi salam. Then came Idris alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also gave him sahaif. Shis alayhi salam, he was given 50 sahaif. These are booklets with very, very basic instructions about human understanding, human psychology, and the understanding of the world. Shis alayhi salam, he was given 30 sahaif. They related to human survival, from agriculture, farming, to writing, the very, very early scripts of writing. And there were also basic lessons of wisdom. These sahaif, they contained very unique wisdoms. Then there were 10 sahaif given to Ibrahim alayhi salam, and there were 10 sahaif revealed to Musa alayhi salam before the revelation of the Torah. So in total we have 100 sahaif. 50 to Shis alayhi salam, 30 to Idris alayhi salam, 10 to Ibrahim alayhi salam, and 10 to Musa alayhi salam. The 20 that were revealed, the 10 to Ibrahim alayhi salam, and the 10 to Musa alayhi salam, they contained the message and the wisdoms of the 80 sahaif that came before them. All of the revelations and the wisdoms that were given to Shis alayhi salam and to Idris alayhi salam, the nuqta, or those wise points, they were found in the Sahifa of Ibrahim alayhi salam and in the Sahifa of Musa alayhi salam. And they contain very, very deep wisdom. Those sahaif in totality are also in the Quran. In two places in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the wisdoms of those sahaif. In Surah An-Najm, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He speaks about this. It's actually an address relating to one of the kuffar in Makkah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about his evil qualities. And then he says that does Am lam yunabba bima fi suhuf Musa, that this kafir, does he know, or did he have information relating to the sahifa that was given to Musa alayhi salam? Am lam yunabba bima fi suhuf Musa wa Ibrahim alladhi waffa, or does he have information about the sahifa that was given to Ibrahim alayhi salam? And what was the message in those sahaif? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins the message of those sahaif. وَأَنْ لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى وَأَنَّ سَعْيَهُ سَوْفَ يُرَى ثُمَّ يُجْزَاهُ الْجَزَاءَ الْأَوْفَى. For this human being, there's nothing except what he makes efforts on. Whatever this human being puts effort into. So he will soon, very soon, وَأَنَّ سَعْيَهُ سَوْفَ يُرَى, very soon his efforts will be seen. This is the nature of our society, that efforts are not hidden. Don't think that you'll do something in secret and the results will also stay in secret, especially if it's a major aspect that it can affect the lives of many, so it does come out. Yes, for some time you may keep it secret, but eventually it'll come out. ثُمَّ يُجْزَاهُ الْجَزَاءَ الْأَوْفَى, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will reward and recompense everyone to its fullest. And the list goes on to the end of Surah An-Najm. You can read. There's very, very great nuqtas and very, very unique points in those ayat. The second place in the Quran is Surah Al-A'la, which is very commonly recited. It is also memorized. سَبِّحِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ الْأَعْلَى الَّذِي خَلَقَ فَسَوَّى. It is related to the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it has some very, very unique points also. To go into the details of that surah, inshallah, when we get to those surahs, we'll go into the details. But near the ending of that surah, there are some very, very unique points that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى. Definitely successful is the one who has purified. And this purity starts from within and then comes to the external. And also the external affects the internal. So as pure as you become inside, that'll be expressed in your outer life. But also when your outer life becomes filthy, that will affect the purity inside. They affect one another. It's like the temperature outside affects us even when we're inside if we don't have the heaters or the ACs or whatever we have. But there's also a way to affect on the outside as well. So this is the system of tazkiyah, also called tazkiyatun nafs. In another place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a few surahs later, He speaks about the tazkiyatun nafs. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He speaks about the nafs, that وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. Successful is the one who has purified his nafs. So this is one very important point related to tazkiyah. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى. And then there's a whole detailed system related to purifying the nafs. It's not a very simple matter. Sometimes when something in the body becomes corrupted, surgery is needed to fix it, especially if it's a major organ. If the nafs is corrupted, there's a very, very unique system required to repair it. Tazkiyatun nafs is a very, very detailed system. So one aspect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this, then He tells us how the purity of the nafs starts. وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. You take the name of your Rabb and then pray salah. That person takes the name of his Rabb and then prays salah. One of the most beautiful ways of purifying the nafs through salah and through dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. But the reality is that you people, you want to increase the life of this world. You want increase in this world. No one thinks that they will live less than 100 years. Each and every one of us sitting here, deep down inside we feel that I'm going to reach 200, Even though we know that no one around us has even reached 100, But each of us feel that, and if you tell somebody who's close to 100 that you're almost at 100, chances are you're going to die. So he'll give you probability and tell you I'm going to live to 1,000, So even we don't want to leave this world as far as even time is concerned. But how much you accumulate? You ask a person who in your eyes is wealthy, ask him if he feels wealthy, and then he'll tell you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, it is also in the Sahaif, بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا. In reality, you're giving preference to this world, you're accumulating and having excess of the life of this world. وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. But the life of the hereafter is far more lasting and also far better. إِنَّ هَذَا لَفِي الصُّحُفِ الْأُولَى. This was the message in the previous Sahaif, صُحُفِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَمُوسَى. The Sahifa given to Ibrahim alayhi salam and the Sahifa given to Musa alayhi salam. So these are the two parts in the Quran that speak about the Sahaif of the past. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Torah to Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. The Torah has ahkam, which means laws and rules. They're divided into two portions, awamir and nawahi, commandments and prohibitions. In the very first portion of the Torah, there are 10 commandments. This is just the first portion. There are many laws that come after. These 10 commandments, the Bani Israel were required to memorize. Alhamdulillah, in our deen, we memorized the whole Quran. So they had 10 major points that they had to memorize. There are a few places in the Quran that those 10 commandments are mentioned and more. Those 10 are mentioned and more. In Surah Al-Isra, Bani Israel, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about these 10 and a few extra. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. It's a very, very long discussion regarding awamir and nawahi, commandments and prohibitions. And then there are many, many places in the Quran where you find many, many awamir and nawahi, many, many commandments and prohibitions, and you find ahkam, ilm al-ahkam. The Quran contains much more ahkam. But the Torah, it dealt with laws, do's and don'ts. Do this and don't do this. In the Quran, we have 500 ayat or more that deal with ahkam. Coming to the Zabur that was revealed to Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam. Dawood alayhi salam came 300 years after Musa alayhi salam. He was given a revelation also known as the Zabur. The Zabur, there are a few points about Zabur. One is the way that it was recited, its tilawa. It had a very, very beautiful melody to it. And many of the ayat or the verses of the Zabur, they rhymed. A very, very beautiful rhythm. And it was very, very sweet to listen to. And the whole of the Zabur contained the tasbih and tahmeed of Allah. It contained the glorification and the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So also in the Quran, alhamdulillah, we have many ayat that are even more beautiful than the ayat that were in the Zabur. We have Surat al-Rahman, for those who are familiar with Surat al-Rahman. We have many, many other surahs that speak about the an'amat and the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have Surah An-Nahl and many more. That in a very, very beautiful way, those an'amat and favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are mentioned. The sifat and qualitative attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are mentioned. And the ayat in a very beautiful way, they rhyme. And they're very, very sweet to listen to. Especially Surah Al-Rahman, you also have Ayat Al-Kursi, you have many, many ayat and many, many surahs in the Quran that in a very beautiful way, they're recited. And if nothing else, we have Surah Ikhlas. Everybody's hafiz of Surah Ikhlas. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad. It also has a rhythm. If you see the Qur'an and how many different qira'at they recited, it's unbelievable how beautiful this surah is. Of course, we just read it to get over with our salah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding. So there are many, many surahs in the Qur'an that are even more beautiful than the revelation of the Zabur. And that the message of those ayat in the Qur'an is far more beautiful as far as tasbih goes, as far as tahmeed goes, as far as tahleel goes, as far as the an'amat and the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes, the ala of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And many a times, the questions in those ayat also come. Which of the favors of your Rabb will you deny? فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. There are other ayat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala questions, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ, where are you turning? Addressing this believer that you read all of these verses related to my favors. Which of them can you deny? Which one can you deny that you do not need? And so on and so forth. Coming to the Injil. The Injil, it was a revelation given to Isa alayhi salam. And it was a message related to lessons. And these lessons were given in the form of hikmah and wisdom. And that wisdom was expressed in the form of stories. The whole of the Injil contained stories. Stories of the previous nations, stories of the previous Anbiya alayhimus salam. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, he was the second to last Nabi to come, the second to last Rasul to come. So the stories of many of the previous Anbiya alayhimus salam, they're found in also the Injil. Later on, they're also called the Anajil because the message was so deep that people believed that it was not one revelation, it had been more than that. And so in those stories, there was also ahkam, there was also wisdom, there was also lessons to be extracted that how the Anbiya alayhimus salam, they conducted da'wah, how the Anbiya alayhimus salam, they conducted ibadah, how the Anbiya alayhimus salam and the prophets, they dealt with their nations. What happened to those nations? What was the end result of those nations? Now what should be understood is also in the Quran, we also have ayat that deal with what is known as idam tadhkir bi ayyamillah. There are verses in the Quran that deal with the stories of the nations of the past. The Anbiya alayhimus salam of the past. So these qisas al-Anbiya, the stories of the Anbiya alayhimus salam, there are around 25 Anbiya alayhimus salam mentioned in the Quran. Some just their names are given, others their stories are given, some of them their whole life biography is given. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, you can find his whole life biography from the birth till his death is there. There are other Anbiya alayhimus salam where a good portion of their life, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, you can find almost his whole life biography. You can also find great details given about other Anbiya alayhimus salam. There are Anbiya alayhimus salam whose only names are mentioned in the Quran. There's only just a mention of their name. There isn't mentioned anything about their story. For example, Idris alayhi salam. وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ إِدْرِيسِ إِنَّهُ كَانَ صِدِّيقًا نَبِيًّا. And other ayat, وَإِسْمَاعِيلَ وَإِدْرِيسَ وَذَا الْكِفْلِ. Just his name. Another one was also Dhul Kifl alayhi salam. His name is also mentioned. No details given about their life, but their names are mentioned. So these were also in the Injil that were revealed to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. Many were given names. Later on, the followers of these Anbiya alayhimus salam, they made their own additions and their own subtractions. The Bani Israel, they took the Torah and they made many ahkam, they switched them. They made the awamir nawahi and nawahi awamir. They made those that were commandments, they made the prohibitions, and everything that was prohibited to them, they made it a commandment. Why? Because the ahkam did not coincide with what their nafs wanted. So they were given a hukum or a command that do not indulge. It was a prohibition, don't eat riba. La ta'kulur riba. Don't eat riba, which is usury or interest. So they took the la out. La means don't. Ta'kulur riba. So we can eat riba. We can eat interest. We can involve. Now you see, mashallah, who's running all the world banks and currency. Subhanallah. For those who know that system, it's unbelievable. But they went from gold to paper, and now from paper to plastic, and from plastic to now just numbers you can see on your phone and make yourself feel happy that there's something there. Otherwise everything is really, the one click of a button, they can take everything. So they have this system. Disclaimer, whatever I'm saying is not being recorded about this, but many of these details you can find that they made many of the awamir commandments, they changed them into nawahi or prohibitions, and vice versa. If something that they did not like, so they made it a prohibition. They used to have this. For example, there was some poor people who used to also want to come and pray. Also wanted to come and be involved in the ibadah. So they made a commandment that no, they cannot sit with everyone. They used to make these kind of changes in their revelations. As far as the Injil that was given to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, the stories, so many from their own priests and experts, they added their own stories to it, and they changed many of these stories. And in fact, they added accusations to many of the Anbiya alayhimus salam. Very, very terrible accusations, which are completely haram and completely wrong. There was no basis for any of those kind of accusations. But they were doing this to justify that we can also do certain things it is allowed for us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about all of this in the Quran as well. أَفَكُلَّمَا جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ بِمَا لَا تَهْوَى أَنفُسُكُمْ istakbartum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told them, Anbiya alayhim as-salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Bani Israel. أَفَكُلَّمَا جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ. Anytime a messenger came to you, بِمَا لَا تَهْوَى أَنفُسُكُمْ, with anything that your nafs, your desires did not like, istakbartum, you became arrogant. You felt that you had the right to change that. You felt that you had the right to not follow that. فَفَرِيقًا كَذَّبْتُمْ. A group from those Anbiya alayhimus salam, you rejected. You openly denied those Anbiya alayhimus salam. And if those Anbiya alayhimus salam or those Rusul messengers, they became stanch in their message, وَفَرِيقًا تَقْتُلُونَ. Another group amongst those Anbiya alayhimus salam, you killed them. If a Nabi would become powerful, that he would have his own followers, and just denying that Nabi was not enough, and that Nabi started gaining influence, so they would go and they would kill that messenger, or they would kill that prophet. And they killed so many, sometimes in hundreds. There was a time where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Bani Israel 30 prophets. Those 30 had 200 followers. Another narration mentions 70 prophets. 30 were Rusul, messengers, and the remaining 40 were Anbiya alayhimus salam. They made an effort amongst the Bani Israel. They had 200 followers. So the Bani Israel went, one day they killed all 70 prophets and they killed all 200 followers. This was their nature. Because they felt that they're gaining traction and people will find out that whatever we're doing is wrong. So we'll lose our position in the eyes of the world that we are the only ones who have access to wahi. Or we are the only ones who are to be caretakers of wahi. So they felt that they had this prestige, they could do whatever they wanted with it. They could change the ahkam of the deen. So they used to kill so many Anbiya alayhimus salam. And why did they do this? وَقَالُوا قُلُوبُنَا غُلْفٌ. They used to say, قُلُوبُنَا غُلْفٌ. Our hearts have a covering. This statement, قُلُوبُنَا غُلْفٌ, this is a statement of arrogance. Our hearts have a covering. This is a very, very strange statement. On one side, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about this ghulf, the reason they used to say this is they used to say that our knowledge has reached a point. A ghulf is actually a container that is full and you put a lid on it. You can't put anything else in there. That lid is called ghulf. Nothing else can fit inside there. This is one meaning. So the Bani Israel, they used to say, we have so much knowledge and we have so much wisdom and we're so privileged that there's no more need for anything else. Our hearts are already sealed. We have perfect knowledge. La ilaha illallah. This is how arrogant they were. That's one meaning. The other meaning, ghulfun, is that they used to say that our hearts are the ones that can handle this wahi and no one else's hearts can handle it. So no one has right to read wahi. They used to keep wahi a secret. Even till now. The Bible is not accessible, whatever Bible you think you have. The real one for a long time was only accessible by the priests. If you read their history and you really understand their history, they used to worship these were their arbab. They used to worship their rabbis, they used to worship their priests. So they used to take them over the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or over the ahkam of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they used to say that our hearts are sealed, which means that we are the only ones that have complete knowledge, and because of that we have the right to dictate what is right and wrong. This is what they used to say. And anytime people would say, why aren't you following the Nabi of the time? I said, our hearts are already full. What we need a Nabi for? Out of arrogance they used to say this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded to this statement. But لَعَنَهُمُ اللَّهُ بِكُفْرِهِمْ. The reality is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has cursed them because of their kufr, because of their disbelief. But لَعَنَهُمُ اللَّهُ بِكُفْرِهِمْ فَقَلِيلًا مَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. So very little would they believe. Which means that though they have so much arrogance, that they feel they're so privileged, they don't even have to obey the Anbiya alayhimus salam. And they openly claim this. This is not some secret. They openly, that our hearts are already full and we're privileged. And this is their nature. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it very clear that He has cursed them because of this kufr. And this is also indirectly a message to many of us Muslims also. Sometimes we find some who are not praying salah, who are not involved in the deen. And they say, oh, we're already made it, They have a saying where in some parts of the world, they say, our Father has the key to paradise, La ilaha illallah. For those who know the statement in Urdu, you understand what I'm saying. They are, they feel that they're so privileged. As if they don't need to pray salah or they don't need to follow the deen, that the deen doesn't apply to them. But they're already privileged, they claim to be Muslim. And there's also the statement of nifaq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for nifaq. In hypocrisy, He uses the word marad, disease in the heart. But here, the aspect of ghulf is used, that their hearts are already sealed. They claim that they have already reached the perfection of guidance. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from such arrogance. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and give us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وادخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.